Welcome to MindfulMonana. My name is Shishi, and here on Lesedi TV, we'll be discussing everything mindset, motivation, and empowering to the modern day Motswana Monana. In today's segment, we're discussing something quite sensitive, a social surge that's normalized itself amongst the peers of our youth, distorting their focus and hurdling their growth. Along with Guiding Hands expert, we sit down after engaging in the field, talking to different banana out there. We sit down to chat on the challenges, trials and tribulations around teenage pregnancy. Stick around for more. Welcome to it. Good day and dumelang wena Motswana ko gae. My name is Shishi and this is MindfulMonana here on Lesedi TV, where we'll be discussing everything engaging, building and contributing towards the mindset of the modern Motswana Monana. Today I'm not alone. We'll be jumping into a very sensitive, a rising social issue, and yet a very prevalent ill in our society, something that, if not affecting our households, will be witnessed by our households. We're talking about none other than teenage pregnancy. Today with me, once mentioned, I am not alone. I'm here with a professional in the field of clinical psychology. As a therapist, she'll be introducing herself and divulging her insight along this topic. Dumela mme.
Dumela.
And what inspired your career choice to pay attention to this part of being a mentor to young children?
Oh, yes. What inspired me was the failure that was going around by children. And I would go around doing a lot of research, and I witnessed that somebody's holding a master's degree, but they're living a defeated life. What's going on? Mm-hmm. Then I started just, having that interest of going in around communities, just wanting to know. Then you realize that it all comes back to their upbringing. It's very hard to teach someone manners or anything that is valuable to them at a very late age.
Yeah.
But when you study it at a younger age, it's good, and it's very difficult for them to depart from it.
Yeah, to stray from that.
Yes. Even if there's a little bit of detour, they still come back to the fundamentals of what they were taught. Like in that program, I'm just going to mention a few. We have personal identity, planning and commitment, abuse, different types of abuse, grooming, involving like character building, communication skills, all those things. Those are the most important aspects of a child, whereby when they grow knowing how to communicate, how to present themselves before people, it helps and it connects even with their education.
Now we're discussing something that's very sensitive.
Yes.
It has grown into something that has become almost normal, and we're discussing understanding and overcoming the challenges of teenage pregnancy. Now, quickly just speak to the elements that you would say are most common when it comes to the emotional, environmental, and psychological aspects that affect teenagers who may be facing pregnancy.
When you go to the social effects of it, usually it's peer pressure. Mm-hmm. There's peer pressure everywhere.
Is it peer pressure to get pregnant or just to explore physical?
Peer pressure leads you maybe into now getting pregnant because you want to fit in. A lot of children suffer trauma and stress that they want to fit in. They just want to be part of something so that they feel they belong. So that alone can lead into teenage pregnancy, because you are going to do what others say. Okay, you lead yourself to an environment that you won't escape, having sex. You are pressured to go into a nightclub, right? You drink. You have never drank before. You take an alcoholic beverage. From there, you lose control of yourself. You find yourself, you're in a bed with a man. You wake up tomorrow, morning sickness, you don't know what's happening to your body.
And then you become scared and quiet. It may not even just be the drinking of the alcohol beverage, all the way to the extent of just being in a nightclub, the space at such a young age. You are exposed to even something that's called spiking. Where people can actually
they spike your drink. So still on the social effect, we talk of poverty. There is, poverty. The family is in poverty that they can even arrange for a 15-year-old to get married to a businessman so that the family can live, can survive. So it is really sad, And sometimes they can agree because everybody is looking at them that you are the solution to the problems that you are facing in the family. So go ahead. You need to marry this man.
What are some of the factors, social, psychological, and maybe as well environmental, coming back to that, do you believe are contributors to the rise in actual pregnancies?
Unsafe living conditions. You realize that you are living in an environment whereby they are drunkards, they're drug addicts, and as a parent, you're working the whole day from morning until evening. You arrive home late, you don't know what's happening to your child, whether it's a girl or a boy, and you don't know who is after them and what they are doing. You cannot trace. You come home, you are tired. So those things really make teenage pregnancy on the rise. And
the lack of giving attention and connection with the child.
A child can even carry an alcoholic substance, or they can even keep things just in their backpacks, and you don't even know because you are too busy and you are too tired to even do those parental roles, which are very key as well. You need to get to know your child so that you can be able to pick up some of these things which are caused by environmental effects. Yes, and also like sometimes poor health facilities, where there are other areas that are deep, where for you to get a health facility, you have to walk, There's no transport, and you get tired to say, I can't walk all those kilometers. You end up just leaving it and staying anyhow. There's no education on that.
So you find that culturally as Botswana, parents, being the conservative nation that we are, it's not easy for parents to find that confidence to have those difficult topics or those, those very untidy sort of topics on sexual relations. But from what you're telling me, it's the same fear of exposing your child to that information that leaves them in a pool of darkness where they're going to now go and find out for themselves.
And it becomes more dangerous. It's, in the African culture, it's like a taboo to talk about
it. Maybe highlight us on the points that one can observe when it comes to seeing if your child is exposed or leading towards the dangers.
It's their character. Their character normally is the first things that you pick. In character, we talk of attitude and behaviors. There are certain things like they want to be alone. As a parent, when you see a child being very defensive over everything, and maybe a topic comes or pops up on television, they try to defend that topic so that it aligns with what they are going through at that moment. So those are tell signs of that my child is going through something.
I would love for us to now go out and talk to Batswana, talk to the Monana out there and hear what they have to say in terms of this very hefty topic that directly affects them. Check this out.
Definitely.
Sometimes the challenges that can cause teenage pregnancy is financial problem, is the background of the parents, sometimes is stress and peer pressure.
I told you, don't give children money if they're still young. If children is still standard 1 and 2 from 3, don't give him money to go to school. Just if you don't have food at school, just keep the food in the cafeteria, then give him, then so that you can eat it at school, not money. It's them, that money teach them to look for boys, because if your parents don't have money, maybe your person was working like that. Then they lost the job. Now you go to school, you still doing standard 6. Your mother don't have money. What do? You find money for elders. Then you cause teenage pregnant because they look for money.
Bana ba rutwa madi ka bonyenyane ba pakisiwa ke re ba nelwa madi jaanong ha bona mongwe a ja mongole o batla go tswa pelo le ene wa bona ya re ke mo heletsang gore khantele ano bana ba rata madi mo le gore khantele le nna ke emele ene ana ke mmola gore nya o tla nna tsa 10 blo ma bonya sekele o heletsa dumela mo le gore rona tota le rona re le bagolo ke re heletsang gore teenage pregnancy nete ka le baka la le tlhoko tota mo le gore tota ya la o tare go apewe go dibeleng kwa go irwe sengwe ja se le gore bana tota ba tla nna ba ja full time go sna ha madi a tserante.
If students engage, they become pregnant, they end up dropping out of school, which will lead to them when it comes to the school work. After a month, I think 9 months, then it means repeat. Then it's gonna delay that's one of the long-term teenage pregnancy in a girl child. Then the other thing is teenage pregnancy, we are not only focusing on and all sort, but only what we call the STIs. Those STIs delay it might lead to until
Little things that I can encourage people to do as a young teenager: find a mentor or go to guidance who can counsel you, or rather find someone who you trust and someone who is responsible for taking care of themselves, like your sister or someone.
I believe it becomes more easier for Wana there's this is called teenage pregnancy, period and all sort. I might have not have that much information as a parent. So it means they're building up on what Mama has said. And it becomes easier for them. And now here we are which means for them teenage pregnancy abstain.
What an informative chat we've had with Monana Kolaping out in the city. We heard one of the Monanas speaking on the financial constraints that depression pushed them into the exposure of intimate relationships beyond their age? Because some do mention that, relationships, okay, movie dates, popcorn dates, picnic dates, but what about financial constraints in the household will drive teens to that kind of...
Right, like poverty. Yes. That's a very big challenge on poverty, because they want to match up with others. So they're bound to get involved into relationships that will end them up having indulgence into sex and getting pregnant. So it's a situation where parents should sit down their children. We are facing challenges, but it doesn't mean that you are any different from any other child. Not having enough doesn't mean it stop you from being who you are supposed to be. So they should enlighten those things to their children that so that they don't feel the need to compensate with money. They can be able to deal with what they have, still being who they are.
Yes.
Yes.
That speaks to the child.
That speaks to the child, yes.
And also for the child to not resent their parent.
A parent should be able to, to understand also the pressures that the child has, that the child is facing, because when they are facing those challenges among their peers at school or out there, wherever they go, the parent is not present. That's when we need also programs put in place that are affordable to everyone, or even on a national level, whereby communities are brought in to support programs that can help the children to learn from this. Because sometimes you realize that a parent can offer good advice on them to say, we are facing challenges, but we cannot able to do 1, 2, 3. But they may not sit on that point. They can feel the parent is being unfair. So it needs maybe sometimes a third person to intervene. And we also look into other aspects whereby a parent has so much, and they even, kids sometimes even have like debit cards with them. They can swipe anything.
Also, we spoke earlier about the attention that teenagers need in that stage. So even the overcompensating for money, which actually might come from financial trauma from the parents' end, where because you grew up in lack, you now want to make sure that your child doesn't lack a single thing.
Yes, my child must not lack.
Cater to them.
Yes.
You're now breaking the normal growth, the natural organic growth pattern of a child, where they're supposed to experience certain disappointments and understand that I will get everything I want when I want.
You have to earn. So some parents, they do compensate their time with the child. Their talks with the child. Never there. Yes, with that. Yes.
Training programs, everything and anything except actually spending time with the child.
Yes. There are some instances whereby a child will say, I take them to school, I drive them to different activities, I'm spending, that's not spending time with your child. That's not training and teaching them. So, and then at the end of the day, you say, no, I've drove them to the movie, I've given them enough cash to have fun with their child. That is an error.
Yeah.
That's an error. You need to have time with your child. Don't use money. Don't replace yourself with money.
Speak to the importance of helping teenagers who are experiencing early teenage pregnancy and early parenthood. How do we as society help them navigate the stress, the stigma, the shame, the guilt, the rejection, and maybe even the regret around such challenging situations?
It's not an easy thing. Whether it was by accident or maybe you were part of it, it's not an easy thing. But what I could say is that, number one, it has happened. You cannot go backwards. It has already happened. And
forgive yourself.
You need to forgive yourself, and you need to know that that child is already here, and they are not a mistake. And They are not a
Separate your mistake from the child.
Yes, it happened in an unfortunate incident, but it's already there. It's not a mistake. But what you, as an individual, as you, the teenage girl, you need to learn from the mistake of what led me into this. Learn from it, which means change of character, behaviors and attitudes. The important factor here is to encourage them and let them know that it's never too late to do it right. So
the reason why I'm saying this is because it's a very short season being pregnant. The longer season is being the parent and having
being the parent.
That child without the reflection or projection of the personal experience from the abuser themselves.
You know, as a community, as parents, caregivers everywhere, they don't need to remind her of the incident. It has happened, yes. We need to move on. Let's help her to stand on her 2 feet. Let's support, even if it's means of material things. Let's help her move on and give her that environment of saying, it should not happen again. It has happened, but it will not happen again. You are not different. You can still do what you have to do. There's this stigma of once you have been affected by teenage pregnancy, it is over for you. But it's not over. You can still go to school. So I think there should be a way whereby there can be a school of victims of teenage pregnancy where they can be able to learn without judgment.
Programs like yours, Mama Blessy, will definitely make the impact and drive the change that the Mindful Monana at home needs.
Yes,
to
definitely.
overcome the challenges, either personally or in support of someone in their community. Kindly share your contact details to anybody watching and listening who'd love to render your services, either for programs in their institutes or for the family girl groups and other such like communities.
Yes, definitely. Our organization is called Guiding Arms, and Guiding Arms offers mentorship life coaching to children from a very young age of 7 up to university level, even with parental guidance as well. So our program, it has events that help boost up like the issues of self-esteem, character building, and all those. We also offer guiding and counseling to victims as well. Basically that. Yeah, we also teach those that have fallen, like in terms of education, we teach them how to study like effective study skills so that they're not left behind.
Lovely. I hope Mindful Monana and their parents will be there to join Guiding Arms as they do the Lord's work here in the beautiful motherland. From myself, Shishi, and the lovely team at Lesedi TV, we will see you next time. Thank you so much.